The function here is underway in the White House. You just heard the speeches there, both by President Biden and Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Guests, Ambassador Timothy Roma, former US Ambassador to India, John Chambers, US ISPF Chairman, former Executive Chairman, CEO, Cisco Systems, and we are also being joined by Umesh Sachdev, co-founder of Unifor. Ambassador Roma, coming first to you, sir. What do you make of the speeches? What was the underlying thrust of the speeches of both President Biden and Prime Minister Modi? They spoke about tech partnership, why it's important, secure and trusted tech partnership. They spoke about the Indian-American community and also about the Quad. President Biden said it's bent the arc of history. Which point do you believe was the most significant in their speeches?
Well, nice to be with you, and I'm very excited to see these two speeches by Mr. Modi and President Biden, and go to the White House state dinner tonight to celebrate this partnership between two great democracies. I think we're not overstating this by using words like a watershed visit, historic cooperation, and a springboard of deliverables to partner on security, defense, energy, space, and computer issues for a decade or decades to come. There was not just one thing to point out here. It is the friendship, the trust, the partnership, whether that's talking about the Quad and the deepening of the strategic cooperation and convergence there. It's the way we see China together. Both countries see China and some of its aggressiveness and its foreign policy as a threat to prosperity and world peace. We see cooperation on technology in the same ways, whether that's wireless, whether that's space cooperation, whether that is a new chip plant that may be going into Gujarat at $2.7 billion. We see cooperation on technology as a way to work on climate change and energy independence. So that's key. We also see friendship and partnership and trust as key issues. We can talk about anything when we have a reservoir full of unprecedented trust in this relationship, as Prime Minister Modi talked about in a Wall Street Journal interview the other day. When that trust is at high levels, we can talk about historic agreements, springboards to new kinds of cooperation and technology, but we can also talk about things that we might find sensitive in this relationship. I'm sure Mr. Modi is going to bring up the withdrawal from Afghanistan as an issue. He may discuss Pakistan as an issue. Also, President Biden will certainly talk about the Ukraine war and oil issues, and he might bring up the issues of democracy and human rights. So when friends have this kind of trusted relationship, they can really talk about anything.
John Chambers as well. John Chambers, what we heard both sides talk about also dwelled upon tech partnership, secure open tech partnership. Do you think in the context of China, this becomes very vital for both India and America?
I think it's even broader than that when you look at it, Maha. I think this is what President Biden worded as the most defining strategic relationship for the 21st century. That is a huge statement. And the major purpose of this visit is to bring our countries closer together, to allow America to see Prime Minister Modi for the wonderful, brilliant leader that he is, and the strategic partner to the U.S. For President Biden to say, here's how both countries really benefit from the overall approach. So we said this 5 years ago, interestingly enough, at Gujarat with the prime minister there, that the U.S.-India relationship would emerge the most strategic relationship in the world, that India would be the fastest growing economy in the world, that the U.S. and India together could innovate at a pace that others could not, and would be models for others to follow. And I think when you listen to Prime Minister Modi's comments about global good, peace, and prosperity, I think this is coming true. But realize this was also on the foundation that has been built by the cabinets from both sides over the last year. the finance ministers, the defense ministers, the Secretary of State, etc. So I think it is a defining moment in the relationship for us to get to know India even closer. I love India. As you know, I'm the biggest bull on India, the most optimistic about India's future and the importance of the partnership with the U.S., but also a huge believer in the vision of Prime Minister Modi and the future of India and how important the U.S. and India together can benefit every citizen and every one of our countries and every one of our states. So I think the message today was spectacular. I do think it's a watershed moment, as Tim said in terms of his comments, but I think you're just beginning to realize what is capable out of this long-term partnership strategicness that goes way beyond trade, way beyond just great contracts and working relationships with GE or with Boeing or with Apple. It goes to how we innovate together, how we generate jobs together, and what your other guests will be talking about, how we do startups together, where our countries work together for to be the best innovators in the world, where you have the best engineers in India, graduating 1 million a year, and the best startups in the U.S. in terms of Silicon Valley and beyond. And we combine those strengths and we will innovate, not just in critical infrastructure or emerging technologies such as AI, but well beyond it. So I think it is a huge moment, a huge inflection point in time, and one that I'm very excited to see. But it will define the future, I think, not just of our two great countries, but candidly of the world in terms of a model for the future.
Okay. All right. All right. Umesh Sachdev, I want you to particularly talk about the Indian-American community that has been alluded to by both the sides, how important and significant it has been, how it has grown and contributed to the American society as well.
Maha, this is truly an important occasion for the Indian-American community today with Prime Minister Modi's visit. Not only are these two the biggest democracies of the world, these are the two biggest innovation economies of the world. The relationship between Silicon Valley and India has been extremely strong. The Indian-American community's contribution to the tech innovation economy of Silicon Valley is truly profound. So look at some of the largest CEOs, the latest startups, the number of unicorns. India today has the third highest unicorns in the world. And every single unicorn coming out of India, which is focused on business-to-business environment, finds North America and the United States as one of their biggest market. Similarly, every large unicorn in US, which is looking to build a global business, finds engineering talent and India as a key market, etc. So the ties between the technology ecosystem, the innovation ecosystem, the startup ecosystem are truly at a place and a pace that no two countries in the world today can define. And today, Prime Minister Modi's visit to the US, his focus on technology transfer, technology partnership between the two countries is further going to cement the role that Indian Americans are playing in the tech innovation ecosystem and startups in the United States.
Ambassador Roma, coming to the issue of people-to-people contact, as far as H-1B visas are concerned, or visas in general are concerned, it's been a niggling point between the two sides. We understand that today there could be some big announcement on H-1B visas that can be renewed now in the US and the person doesn't have to go back to it. A very big step, yes. At least in easing out the situation for professionals.
Well, I know that this is a very, very big issue for the United States and a very big issue for the people of India. Again, this is talking about our people-to-people ties. The fact that Mr. Modi and President Biden both talked about our Constitution starting with the sacred words, "We the people." The people of India, the people of the United States run the government, not the other way around, or kings or monarchs or dictators. The people are in charge. And the people have been telling our leadership in Congress and Parliament and so forth that we want to expedite these travels between our two countries. We have 4.5 million Indian Americans living in the United States. We not only have a very, very close community in the business environment, in the startup environment, in the unicorn environment, but in our political environment. Both Democrat and Republican presidents believe strongly in the strategic convergence of the United States and India. And I know BJP and Congress party officials also believe in this relationship. We have people in Congress, not just the Vice President of the United States, Kamala Harris, that believes and works on this relationship. One of the most important committees in the United States Congress is the Select Committee on China. One of the most important people on that committee is my friend Raja Krishnamurthy, an Indian American from Illinois, who is the ranking member on that committee and helping us put forward policy on China. So throughout our society, from business to politics to society, we need to be able to expedite travel between our two countries. And especially it's in the interest of the United States to bring over and keep potentially brain gain. That means Indians who come to the United States, study here, get PhDs. Not only are they job makers, they're job multipliers. They help us start new businesses and employ Americans across the board in our communities by creating startup jobs and big companies. And hundreds of Americans, therefore, have jobs when we can have a smart, safe, secure immigration and visa policy. I know the new ambassador, Eric Garcetti, has been working hard to do this since he got over to New Delhi. It's a priority for Mr. Biden and the State Department. And I understand there are going to be some announcements on how to improve, expedite, and make sure that that renewal process takes place in a quick and efficient fashion.